All right, guys, Seth and I are out skating tonight, and it was really cloudy and nasty, but it's turned off kind of pretty, but it's super humid. But tonight is like almost exactly 1 year that Seth and I have been inline skating. And so I thought I would do a kind of a 1 year progress report, but I'm not going to do a normal progress report like I go over how many tricks I've learned and all that stuff, because honestly I haven't really learned that many. But I thought what I'd talk about is some of the challenges I faced, some of the struggles I've had, and some of the triumphs I've had in the past year for being kind of an older skater and a new skater. So yeah, here we go. Let's talk about some of that stuff. So we both started at exactly the same time. I had never inline skated before, and I thought probably the biggest misconception I had initially was that my general fitness was going to carry over into skating, because I had come off a summer of really good racing. I had done the vertical mile challenge. I had won several races at Whitewater Center in the trail running, and I just thought that my general fitness and strength was going to at least keep me caught up with Seth for at least some period of time. And I would say it took me less than 2 weeks to realize that none of that had any bearing on it compared to his age. Yeah, so I found out real quick that his age just overcame all of my fitness. I'd been involved in extreme sports all my life, and I had skateboarded, so I thought sure I was just gonna hop on the skates and pretty much go, but that wasn't the case at all. My very first struggle was just skating, just being used to the skates and skating in general. It took me a long time to get used to transitions on the skates, like at this park, which is our home park. It took me just a really long time to even start going down some of the walls, the slant walls like these guys. So out here. So that was my first struggle, and on the other side, that was kind of my first real triumph, was to get used to going down these walls. It took me a long time to where I'd ride like on the slant wall here, where I'd ride up the pyramid, come down, go up where Seth is going now. So it took me a lot longer to do that than I thought it would, and I spent a really good deal of time just trying to get more and more comfortable on the skates. And so once I finally started getting a little more comfortable on the skates, then the next thing I was working on was just trying to go fakie. Not skating backwards so much as like doing what I'm doing now, going up a wall and coming down fakie. And that just took me forever to feel comfortable doing that. And it's still not 100% in every case, like Seth's coming up these walls, but I did eventually get to where I felt a lot more comfortable doing that. But that's still one of those things that I struggle with, is skating backwards down anything. I mean, Seth has gotten to the point now where he can almost skate down anything backwards, and I still struggle with the just certain walls. Now I can go up one and come down, but I just have a hard time backing into a wall and still going down it. So, that was a struggle then, and it's still a bit of a struggle now, though it's a lot less than it was initially. All right, so after I got a little more comfortable with with kind of the slant walls and stuff going backwards, then kind of the next thing to work on was, the next big thing was the drop ends. And we kind of started on the drop ends on a 3-foot ramp at a different park, which they're a lot more mellow. Here, the smallest thing we have is a 4-foot, and the 4-foot wall has a pretty steep transition at the bottom. And the next size up is a 5-foot. So I learned on the 3-foot wall and then started applying it here. And I got to the point where every session I would skate, and I still do this, I still drop in 10 times, at least 10 times every time I skate. So just to keep that in my mind, because you get scared of this stuff if you don't do it for a while. And I would say that's another thing about getting old, is a lot of tricks are fragile, meaning if you don't do them for a while, you kind of lose not the physical ability to do them, but you do lose the mental edge. They go away real quick, and I've noticed that with a lot of my tricks. And so at least for the drop-ins, because I love to do them, and that's how I can get some speed around the park. So I generally always do 10 on the skates and the skateboard every time I go. All right, so once I got the drop-ins down pretty good, I kind of had the big three. What I considered my big three was just skating forward over the transitions, skating backwards down some of the slant walls, some of the transitions, and then the drop-ins. And that was probably, I don't know, before I got comfortable with those, December. And then I started just trying to learn tricks. And what I did when I learned tricks, kind of, I don't know if it was self-defeating, but I would, because they're fragile, I would come to the park every night and I would do all the tricks I knew how to do. And then I'd try to do one more new trick. And so probably by the end of February, well, I did get hurt in there one time. I had to take a couple of weeks off. But what happened was probably by the end of February, that's all I could do, is come to the park and just spend the whole time doing the tricks that I knew how to do, to the point where I wasn't learning anything new anymore. I was just trying to do the tricks that I knew how to do. And so I had to make a change from that, or I was going to get stuck. And so what I finally ended up doing to kind of get out of that funk was this volcano. This probably, mentally, this thing was a huge challenge for me, this volcano. It's got a tall side, a short side, the top is round, it's sloping, and it took me forever to go up on it, to go over it, go across it. And once I got that, I was kind of in a whole new place mentally, and that really accelerated my comfort. I wouldn't say it got me going with a lot more tricks, but it just got me a lot more comfortable on the skates, which was still part of what I wasn't fully aware of yet, of how uncomfortable I was on the skates until I did that. So about the time I was working on the volcano, I was doing all those other tricks and I was taking a lot of slams. And so I stayed sore almost all the time, to the point where I finally had to back off and just kind of concentrate on doing less new stuff and just kind of skating. So that was, I guess, the next big phase. And I would say that was still the phase I'm in now, is I've backed way off of learning new tricks. And I'm coming back into being more comfortable on the skates. So I'm more comfortable riding down the slant walls, over the volcanoes. The drop-ins are very comfortable now. So it's a whole new world when you're a lot more comfortable on the skates. And I would say that's probably my biggest mistake, and my biggest regret was that I didn't spend more time up front just learning how to skate. And I still can't skate backwards. I can go backwards, like if I go off a wall and back down, I can go backwards, but Seth can skate backwards great, and he can gain speed, and all I do is lose speed. I just roll backwards until I stop. But so that, ooh, thunder. So that's a big thing I got to work on, is continuing to learn how to skate, just skate on the skates and not really do tricks. So I'd say, overall, some of the big triumphs I've had are the drop-ins. I feel at least at this park, I'm very comfortable with them. I haven't dropped into the bowl yet, because mainly, not because I don't think I can, but because I don't think I can get out. That's the problem with the bowl. But everywhere else here, I'm very comfortable. Even going to a new park, I'm fairly comfortable dropping in on new parks. Skating backwards down the transitions, just going up a wall and coming back down on, I'm much more comfortable. And on the volcano, I'm a lot more comfortable. Just in general, everywhere I'm skating, I'm much more comfortable now. And that's probably the biggest joy that I've had skating, is just skating around and finding new lines and having fun on the skates, not just trying to go trick after trick after trick, just having fun on the skates. So those are some triumphs, and there are still a lot of things I still struggle with. You know, being old, number one, mobility sucks. I can't jump on anything. I tried to learn the grinds, and yeah, I got up on it. I got up on the rail. I got up on the ledge, but they were terribly painful. Every time I did it, it hurt. So I just finally gave up on the grinds. And I can do them on low stuff, like we went to the park in Statesville, and I was able to grind there. So that was good, but here I've just given up on anything over about a foot high. It's not worth it for me. So that, you know, that's still a huge struggle. The skating backwards is still a struggle. Going over stuff backwards, like backing down a wall backwards. I still really would like to feel comfortable enough to just come into a wall backwards and go down anywhere, and I'm not even close to that most places. It's one of the other things I struggle with, is just general power on the skates, and I don't know if that's, I think a lot of it is just I don't have a lot of power in my legs. My legs are strong, but they're just not powerful. You don't have a lot of power, like push to them. And going up these walls like this one, a little 4-foot wall, Seth can come in here at half the speed, literally half the speed that I come at, and jump right up onto the top. And I fly into this wall and barely make it up to the top. Even the wall down here, if I start from the other end, drop in and get all the speed I can, you've seen videos of me jumping out of this corner, and that's all I can do barely is get out of this corner. So the power, maintaining speed on the skates, and that's just something I'm going to work on. I know my technique is awful. I have terrible skating technique, and I really haven't worked on it, so that's something that I'm going to work on. If you saw my video about just struggling and being discouraged, you know that I'm trying to work on less things but get better at the things that I work on. And so that's one of the things I'm working on now, is just general power, speed skating, because when you watch guys that are good, man, they go so fast and it looks like it's no effort, and for me it's crazy hard effort. So that's another thing I struggle with. The last thing really that is a big struggle is just pain. Because of my knee, and my knee hurts all the time. It never doesn't hurt. So that plus I've taken a lot of slams. My wrist hurts, my shoulders hurt, my hips hurt, my knees hurt. So I do struggle with pain. I mean, I'm an old guy. I have a lot of aches and pains from previous injuries, and that's just something that every time I skate I think about, is, you know, what's going to hurt today? How bad am I going to hurt tonight? And I don't know that there's getting better helps with that, because lately, maybe the last 3 weeks, I haven't taken quite as many falls. Not as bad. So that's getting better as I get to be a better skater, but it's still there. It's never going to go away because that knee's never going to get better. But overall, I would say in the past year, I have done in some places better than I thought I would, in some places not as good as I thought I would, but in the end I've really enjoyed the inline skating. Not only the skating, but the skating with Seth. We've had a great time together. So, you know, we've been to a bunch of parks together, a bunch of different places, had some adventures, and that's always fun. I love adventure. So in the end, I'm just really glad he got me into it, and it's been a blast for the past year, and I hope we can keep skating for many years to come. So if you guys, if you have some experience like that, let me know. I'd love to hear about your experience to skating, how you learned, what some struggles you had or still have. So let me know in the comments. And yeah, like always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.